A little over a year ago, I made a video on my work from home setup. At that point, my setup prioritized easy portability so that if I wanted to work from a coffee shop, a co-working space, or on-site at a client, I could easily pick up my entire setup and go. A lot's changed since then though. I exclusively work from home right now, though I'm hoping to be doing a little more on-site in the near future. Let's take a tour of my 2021 desk setup. If this is your first time joining me, welcome, I'm Jen. I've been working in analytics for 15 years now. Currently, I consult doing data analyst, business analyst, and data science work for companies all over the world. Let's get into my desk setup. I'll put links down in the description to everything I talk about today so you can easily go find them for yourself. Let's start with the hub of my work, my laptop. I have a Dell XPS 13 that is going on 3 years old now. It doesn't have the latest and greatest specs, but it is more than sufficient for the work that I'm doing. I would definitely consider repurchasing the same laptop in the future, just with the upgrades of everything that exists on the current version. I work with a lot of data, so the one issue that I've had with this laptop is the amount of storage available. But that's a problem I'd expect to run into with almost any laptop over time, or any desktop over time. A lot of the data I work with is cloud-based, so that helps some, but I still can't get around that there is a lot of data that I need to end up storing locally. To get around that, I have a 1 terabyte solid state drive, and that's worked perfectly to overcome this issue. I use a separate monitor as my primary monitor, and when I want dual screens, then I'll use that and my laptop together. My current monitor is a 24-inch Asus ProArt display. I've been really happy with it. I use it mainly in horizontal mode, but you can also flip it up into portrait mode if you're doing a lot of coding. So occasionally I'll do this, but I find it's a big enough screen that for most of what I'm doing, I just use it in the horizontal position. It's hard to beat the price point on this monitor, which is $200 for some great specs. They also have larger versions if you want a 27-inch, and I think they even have larger options than that. This 24-inch runs about $200. I still have the monitor I mentioned in my last video as well. It's a 15.5-inch Asus portable monitor that doesn't come with a stand. It comes in with a case that has a built-in stand in it, but it doesn't have more of a traditional stand. I don't have any plans to get rid of my portable monitor. It still works great, and it'll be perfect when I'm doing more on-site client work again in the future. For now though, it's nice to have a larger monitor for my main setup. Most days I'll just use this external monitor. At 24 inches, I find that when running in split screen, I can still see almost everything that I want to. For days when I'm not using my laptop screen, I store it on my desk in this handmade wood laptop holder. On days that I do need the laptop screen, let's say I'm doing something more involved or need more screens than what is really feasible to pull up even on my 24-inch monitor, I'll use this Roos laptop stand. I got this stand because it's really nice for travel setups. It collapses down very small and lightweight, and yet is incredibly sturdy. Rather than buying something else larger for my desk, I just use that as my laptop stand on my desk as well, and then I don't have to have a second stand that's just on the desk in addition to that portable stand. If there's one area in my setup that I'd like to upgrade soon, it's my keyboard. I like that it's a full keyboard with a full numeric keypad, which I find important for working with a lot of numeric data. This keyboard works really well, it's Bluetooth and keeps a long charge to it. However, it's not the most ergo-friendly when I'm doing a lot of coding or a lot of typing in general for anything that I'm working on. So this is an area I'm most likely to upgrade next in my setup. I still recommend this keyboard though. I don't plan to get rid of it even when I do upgrade this because it's such a slim keyboard that it's perfect for travel. If I'm working from a hotel, if I'm working at a client where I have my laptop set up, I can still type really easily and have my laptop set up in a way that the screen is at a better height than just sitting on the table. And with the full numeric keypad, that makes it really nice working with a lot of numeric information. My mouse is a Logitech M330, and I mainly got it because it's supposed to be silent, and I find that it is pretty silent. It's got a fantastic battery life. I've changed them once in the 3.5 years or so that I've had this mouse. I'd highly recommend it. It's a comfortable mouse to use and it's not that expensive. I think it's around $20, which seems like a good value for what you get. And again, that great battery life. As a lot of us are experiencing right now, I find myself on frequent video calls. I have this separate Logitech webcam that I use in my setup, and I find it's just easier than using the webcam on my laptop, which isn't in an ideal placement. And for my home setup, it's nice to have a little bit higher quality of a webcam than what's built into the laptop. This Logitech webcam comes in a variety of versions. The version I have has a snap-on security cover, so you can cover the actual camera itself when it's not in use. The last piece of tech in my setup is a 4-port USB hub. Somehow, no matter how many USB ports I have, I always feel like I could use more, and this satisfies that. I haven't run out of space with those. Between plugging in my mouse, my solid-state drive, sometimes having to connect a camera or phone to my computer, I find that having the extra ports always comes in handy. So I just leave this permanently plugged in. With the monitor I have, it has multiple USB ports, but they're not in the easiest place to access. They're just hard to get visibility to because they're on the bottom side of the monitor. So I just leave this USB hub plugged into those, and that way I have more ports and they're much easier to plug into because that sits on my desk rather than having to maneuver underneath the bottom of the monitor. There are a few other important pieces of my desk setup though. I've added a steel case desk chair, which has been well worth the money for the amount of time that I find myself sitting in front of the computer. Amazon has some pretty good prices on them, and I find that of all of the things I've invested in, my laptop and this chair have been the most worthwhile. Lighting's also an important part of your desk setup. I have a window directly in front of my desk, so during daylight hours I get plenty of light, and it's not direct, so it's a nice ambient lighting for the room. A lot of days when I'm working, I don't have the best lighting. The outside light isn't enough, or I'm starting early enough in the morning that it's not light out, or I'm doing work in the evening where there's not a lot of light. So the lighting on my desk is really important to me. I don't like overhead lighting. It's harsher on my eyes. I usually wear glasses when I'm working on the computer, and so that means lamps are critical. As you can see, I usually have a candle burning. It just adds a little nice light, adds a little nice atmosphere to my desk to make my office feel nicer. But I also have a West Elm lamp that lights up a portion of my desk, and I have a secondary lamp on my desk, which is a BenQ ScreenBar Plus. I also use this BenQ ScreenBar Plus, which was gifted to me. It's designed to light your desk in front of your monitor without actually throwing any light onto your monitor and creating any sort of glare from it. You can adjust the brightness and color temperature or set everything to auto dim based on the actual lighting conditions. I find this is really helpful when I'm typing or writing in a notebook right in front of my monitor, but I also have a slightly bigger desk because I like sometimes to spread out. Sometimes I'll have notebooks open, reference materials that are beside me, and in those cases I use both lights because the ScreenBar light isn't enough to light up the entire desk, but it is perfect if I'm just working on that space in front of me. So if I'm just on the computer and not doing anything else, a lot of times I'll just use the ScreenBar light early in the morning or late in the evening when it's dark outside. That's my desk setup for 2021. How's it compared to yours? Are there any things you want to change about your desk setup? Are there any recommendations you have from me to make my desk setup more comfortable? Especially if you have recommendations on keyboards, let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.